We have yet another chilling move from the Trump DOJ, and it stems from how much little baby boy Donald Trump is still angry that he lost in 2020. And so he wants to be ready that if the elections in the future don't go the way he wants, maybe he has some levers he can pull. Maybe he has some buttons he can push to manipulate things. And in this case, it involves senior DOJ officials, which are currently exploring the possibility of bringing criminal charges against state or local election officials if the Trump administration believes that they haven't sufficiently safeguarded their computer systems. So this is clever from their point of view because the DOJ and Trump can say, well, this is all election integrity. We just want everyone to be super secure. But what they're normalizing here is the idea that if we have an issue with an election, either state, local level, we can go in there and start locking people up. We can give them charges, put pressure on them, or maybe like kick up enough dust around one precinct or one county that maybe we may make the whole thing sort of up for question. That's my fear, that this is not about election integrity. This is about another avenue they can use to change the results in important counties. For instance, in Atlanta, come the next presidential election or the next Senate election, for instance. But let me give you a little bit more of the reporting from the New York Times on this. In recent days, senior officials have directed Justice Department lawyers to examine the ways in which a hypothetical failure by state or local officials to follow security standards for electronic voting could be charged as a crime. Bear in mind, they're the ones that would be setting those standards that then those local officials would be violating, just to be clear. And remember, the DOJ is no longer even semi-independent. It's Donald Trump's personal lawyers. All of this is combining to make the most grotesque, toxic injustice parfait we've ever seen. The department has started to contact election officials across the country already, asking for information on voting in the state. At least 2 states last week received a letter from different parts of the DOJ with 15 broad questions about voting policies and compliance with federal laws. One question specifically asked about voting machines, quote, describe all technological security measures taken by the state to prevent unauthorized access to the statewide voter registration list. Which, again, maybe this is just fact finding. It also provides them with everything they need to know to hypothetically come up with some way to violate it, I guess, if they knew all of the security measures. But I also just want to remind everyone, since Trump took office, the DOJ has dropped or halted all of the open voting rights lawsuits that preceded Trump being inaugurated. So the DOJ used to be concerned with election integrity and also voter rights and access, the ability of people to make sure that their rights are not being infringed. The DOJ is no longer in the business of that. There are literally no pending cases that have to do with people's rights to vote being violated. And all of their resources are going into setting the stage for what I feel could be like further manipulation of the election if it doesn't go in their way. I'm trying not, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic, Brett. I don't think I'm fear mongering, but feel free to disagree.
Like him taking advantage of this kind of stuff is exactly what his brand is. What is Donald Trump in the minds of a lot of people? He's a rich guy who does deals. He's gonna say that to you. I make deals, I negotiate, I make deals. If you believe that, if you believe that he is the person you think he is for the reasons you like him, you respect and like the fact that he's gonna get whatever he can, whenever he can, regardless of whether it's moral or ethical. That's what people like about him. They have this strange belief that he's on their side, but that's not actually his brand. His brand is, he doesn't put us on his buildings. He puts Trump on his buildings. He refers to himself in the third person like he is God or something. So in this scenario, he is going to take rights away from you, the voter. Now, you would be lucky as long as he still thinks he should protect you. But the only thing that guides Donald Trump's decisions is whether he can get more power and influence. And the only way to enforce your power and influence over him is the threat that there would be some consequence based on public opinion. Another way to say that is voting rights. So once ye toad slowly boiled in the pot, once he gets that, which seems to be the actual goddamn plan, that the Department of Justice is saying it's executing, he doesn't have to listen to you anymore, ever, until you take a rifle to the White House and shoot him. That's the only remaining thing, but he will have the army and a lot of other people on his side, because that will then be the only thing he needs to maintain power is access to physical force. And as you're saying, we're such communists, it will lead to be weird communist dictatorships. Like, bro, you're on an express train. And for those Americans who don't know what a bullet train is, a high-speed rail is, because we don't have them because of vulture capitalists, that means you're going very fast toward a destination.
Yeah, and if you don't understand it as a noun, Trump is setting up a situation, as Brett is describing, where you will be even higher speed railed by the elites.
Get him, John, you
pervert. What you're going for. And again, and I'm gonna close with this. I know a lot of people are worried about they're gonna cancel the elections. There's just not gonna be elections. But as I keep pointing out, that is a dangerous thing to do and a risky thing to do. Why not just do this and just lock up anyone who's in charge of a precinct that you don't like? Or yesterday we did a very similar story where on the election boards they've got election deniers that will just refuse to certify elections. That's way simpler. And maybe still messy, but messy in a way that the Supreme Court can then swoop in and solve in a way like they did in 2000. I think that is far more likely than just the election being canceled outright.